Juneteenth, and we have plenty of things that we're going to talk about in our time here together for today. It's been a long week. It has been a long week, but we've got plenty of great conversations to round out the week, so we hope that you'll join us here until 4 p.m. Now listen, I'm your host, Anita Blanton. I'll be with you through that entire time, and let's just talk about some of the things that are coming up in this first hour. We'll take it little by little as we get through all of this. Always keep in mind, if we're seeing some live things or some things that are happening that we need to get to, it's kind of a fluid schedule, so we'll move things around. But these are the things that we have lined up for this hour. We're going to talk about Father's Day. It's Father's Day weekend, and they're doing a very special, or continuing a very special tradition at the Cook County Jail. This is an opportunity for families. Obviously, I mean, if you're going to the jail, yes, someone may have made a wrong choice in their lives, and but they still have families, and this gives men who are incarcerated an opportunity to see a different path. And this is one of the traditions that even the late, great Reverend Jesse Jackson used to help participate in, going over to the Cook County Jail, working with Sheriff Tom Dart, going over to the Cook County Jail. His sons, who are now in politics, have even talked about going with their father over to the jail to meet and to encourage the men who are incarcerated to stay in the good fight to be fathers. Even if you have made a mistake, to change your life, to be a better father for the next generation, that curses can be broken and that things can go in a different direction in the future. And so we're going to talk with them about what they are doing, this Bridge to Freedom program that they have. The founder of the Bridge to Freedom program is going to be here on the show, and we look forward to that conversation. Also around 1:30, we're going to talk to the youngest black alderman in Illinois. At 22 years old, already serving his city in a very significant way, talking about that next generation and taking things to a new territory here. So he is actually, this is Alderman Tamir Bell. He is headlining the Aurora Juneteenth Youth Summit. What a great young man for the younger generation to be able to learn from, to be inspired by, and to hear from this weekend. And so he's going to be in Aurora. He is an alderman in Rockford, but he's going to be in Aurora to speak to the youth there. I would think that he probably gets a lot of speaking engagements for this purpose. When you think about many of the things that we see our young people getting involved in, and you wonder, like, who can speak to them to really get through to them, because many of us who have been there and you know, maybe are a generation or two removed from them, they look at us like parents, aunties, uncles, and maybe what we say, kind of, there's a wall there, and they're not really trying to hear us. But this young man is just 22 years old, and so he has a different perspective of being able to reach them in a very different way. And so I'm really looking forward to being able to talk to him around 1:30. We're gonna catch up with Cassie Carlson, our own lead sports anchor here at Fox Chicago, because you know, the World Cup action has been just phenomenal. I was looking over a few things. I've talked to a few folks over the last several days that maybe they weren't even big soccer fans before this year, but it's something about having the World Cup on our own soil and people from around the world coming here that are on full display for these moments that are really just capturing people's attention. And we know USA is in action tonight. Well, today, it's this afternoon. USA and Australia in the World Cup matchup today. We're hoping that the USA pulls it out. That their first round was just so electrifying. Just hearing everybody in the stands like USA, USA. It was great. It was phenomenal. We hope that they can keep it going. For sure, they have a very special squad, and we have a very special squad here at Fox Chicago. And so Cassie's over at a recess where they have had huge crowds, and hopefully she'll be able to hear us. But we're going to try to chat with her about all of the World Cup action and the excitement surrounding it. But first, we've got to talk about, when you say that people from around the world have come here for the World Cup, it's a lot of long flights, right? But just how long of a flight would you be willing to take to get to where you're going? That is the question of the day, everyone. And we have an expert who's going to speak to a 22-hour Qantas long flight that's now the world's longest nonstop commercial flight. Katie Nastro with Going.com is joining me now. Katie, where are you first and foremost? It looks beautiful.
Hi, Nita. Yes, I'm coming to you from Halifax, Canada, this little tiny corner of Eastern Canada. It is a gorgeous day here. I'm in town for a separate type of event. It's a different type of travel. It's called Sail GP, these foiling catamarans that fly upwards of 50 miles an hour, completely human and nature powered. Absolutely amazing. But we're talking about the ultra long haul flight from Qantas first and foremost, which I am so excited by.
Now, would you take this flight?
Oh gosh, Anita, I tell everyone travel is subjective because there are so many places around the world to explore. And what I like is going to be different from what somebody else is like, someone else might like. But when it comes to Australia, I will sing from the rooftops. I absolutely love this country. And I'm taking that flight from LA or even from San Francisco out to Sydney, Melbourne, over a dozen times, and can say in certainty that if I didn't have to connect, and even though it would be 22 hours from start to finish, I would gladly just jump on one flight to get to this amazing place.
You know what? I'm so glad that you mentioned the connection part, because honestly, when I first heard about this, I'm like, I don't know. But then I thought about how much stress and anxiety goes through connections. You know, if you have one hiccup, you are in trouble. You're running through an airport. You're crying at a stand. Like, no, you don't understand. I need to get where I'm going. So it does cut that out.
It definitely does. And I think for a lot of people, traveling is stressful enough to begin with. But cutting down, as you mentioned, on that travel stress in any way, shape, or form, whether it's getting to the airport earlier or not having to connect through an airport that you may not necessarily connect through often or fly out of often, it can definitely add to or lessen the impacts of having that travel stress. And, you know, look, flying long haul is another type of stress when it comes to travel. And I do think that that has actually kept people from exploring places like Australia and New Zealand because they are intimidated by being on a flight for that long. But this new flight from Qantas is made to withstand or give people opportunity to stretch, relax, have wellness zones, different lighting to maximize or really get their body adjusted to the new time zone that they're going to be arriving in. So they've really done their homework to figure out how can we make this experience as enjoyable and as painless as possible, even knowing that it is going to be a good amount of time that you're having to be in that position, especially if you're flying in economy.
Yeah, I'm like, you've got to have the space to be able to get up and stretch. I'm thinking about that for so many reasons.
Exactly. Yeah, especially health-wise. You know,
Yes.
if you're sitting for too long on a flight, your blood can start to pool. And I always recommend wearing your compression socks, getting up, even if it's, you know, a 3-hour flight, just use the bathroom a couple of times. You want to get up and have your blood flowing again. It can definitely help also too with getting your body acclimatized to the new time zone. You know, stepping out, getting some fresh air. If you've been in a position for a really long time, you know, I'm a small person, but oh my gosh, my back these days, when I take those long haul flights, it definitely takes a few days to sort of unwind myself. So if you have that opportunity to stretch in the back of the flight, it really can be a game changer in getting your body used to that new sort of time zone and time frame.
Okay, let me ask you this. What kind of prices do you think are going to be attached to a flight like this?
Yeah, that's a great question. And we haven't seen any models so far in terms of what those prices would look like for a economy ticket, for example. But I would estimate, because this is a longer flight, and we tend to find that flights without stops tend to be cheaper. This is probably going to run people 20-30% at the most more expensive, but like could be upwards of that. And so, you know, if you're looking at a business class ticket, for example, you're looking at well over a couple $1,000s just for one way.
Ooh, and that kind of takes us to our next point of conversation with you, and that's surveillance pricing during this summer season when people are looking to get all different types of items. Explain this.
Yeah, this is something in the industry that we talk about often because airlines are trying to figure out ways to deliver the price that a customer is most willing to pay. But we want to give this a caveat because with the introduction of AI and dynamic pricing, where pricing is changing in real time based on a ton of different factors like demand, like seat inventory, AI is basically changing the game and really like a supercomputer and making dynamic pricing even more supercharged. And so we want travelers to be aware that no, somebody isn't sort of watching you and watching your behavior, but it is taking these little clues to be able to deliver the best price or the most willing price that you would be looking to pay. And so some might argue that this is sort of a discriminatory tactic for certain people that, are willing to pay more. Nobody wants to pay more than they should. And so, with airfare still up roughly over 20% year over year, we're definitely always starting to hear these conversations around pricing and the hacks, of course, come out. So I'm not surprised that, dynamic pricing or surveillance pricing, so to speak, is a part of the conversation again, now that we've seen just such sky high airfare. And we're likely in for a continued sky high airfare for the next few months, unfortunately, even with oil prices coming down.
That's a heartbreaker. I think everyone, while we've been watching the negotiations, yes, politically with the war in Iran, the conflict there, and the back and forth of we've got a deal, do we have a deal, what's going to happen? I think ultimately everyone's just most interested in how it affects their pockets, of course, and that is the affordability issue that's really taken us through much of this year. And so I think another aspect of this surveillance pricing that people would wonder about is like how much of your data then becomes someone else's viewing habits.
Right. And that's definitely a part of that sort of travel hack conversation. We always hear about people using a private browser, using VPN, all of these different sort of tricks to try to get the best price available or try to trick the system. But there really, at the end of the day, there really is no trickery to be had. And it is pricing in real time. Sometimes I will get to the checkout page and hit purchase, and the price that I was looking at is no longer available. And that is dynamic pricing happening in real time. It's not the airline watching you and trying to give you sort of a higher price because they know you might want to. They don't have that information to be able to tell if you would. So, on one hand, if airlines could charge you that price to begin with, they would, but they don't know what is your threshold, and they're constantly trying to figure that out. Now, in the future, are they going to have access and are going to be using specific data points? That leaves to remain unseen, especially as airlines are utilizing AI in their pricing strategies. We've heard that from multiple different airlines, specifically Delta last year, coming out and stating that they are supporting, roughly a percentage of their pricing with AI. And so we do want travelers to be aware that, yes, there is pricing happening in real time, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the airlines are using various data that you wouldn't necessarily want them to.
A big brother-ish, I think is what comes off to people, And so maybe just kind of bringing our conversation full circle here, you wonder whether it is the surveillance pricing or going back to Qantas even about these new business models. Like, what is it that we are seeing right now that you think is really taking us into the future?
Yeah, well, ultra long haul flying, for example, is one of those things that has always been sort of a pipe dream for a long time, specifically for Qantas, specifically connecting Australia to the rest of the world. Because anytime an Australian wants to get on a plane or wants to go somewhere, they typically need to get on a plane for a long period of time, and they typically have a lot of connections. And so having this direct flight from both New York and from London will be a game changer in really the connectivity around the world. And ultra long haul flying is only going to grow. If you didn't have to take multiple stops, specifically from smaller airports to some of these places around the world, that really can bring people together in less time frames. And, it really is pushing the boundaries of what's capable in flying. I think we have ultra long haul flying on the docket, but then also looking at alternative fuels, alternative jet fuels, definitely a wave of the future that is constantly being looked into and testing. and trying to see, what opportunities are out there to push the limits, making shorts flighter. There is some talk down the road, maybe a decade from now, that 13-hour flight from LA to Sydney could be only 7 hours,
Wow.
which really would be incredible. But for that to happen, we need a massively different type of plane that would be able to accommodate and a different fueling system and different fuel, for example, to be able to make this happen. So the ideas are out there, and this ultra long haul flight debuting from Qantas next year or later this year, I should say, is really the first step forward.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much for telling us more about it. It gets our brain going to kind of see where we sit on it thus far. We were looking at a poll just among our viewers in our afternoon show, The Loop, and so far it was like 60-40 split, 70-30 at times, 60-40, but most people saying yes, they would take it. So thank you for joining us today. We appreciate it. Enjoy that view.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
Take care. All right, it's 1:16, everyone. It's really interesting, when we have conversations like that about all of these things that are new to us now or that are really taking us into new territory here. I was looking at the historical context for that Qantas flight, and the original Kangaroo route to London in 1947 required 7 stops. And as of this year, we're getting into the territory, or really next year, of having one 22-hour flight instead of something that would have multiple stops along the way. Very interesting stuff, but of course, with the inclusion of these new things comes some of the other things that make us question, like surveillance pricing along the way. It's 1:17. Give us 2 minutes and we'll be back with our next conversation here on the show with our own Cassie Carlson. right, 121, everyone. Thanks so much for staying here with us. And we are literally minutes away from more World Cup action with the USA in play. So we have to go out to our lead sports anchor who is at recess where the party has already gotten underway. Oh, my goodness, that's a lot of people out there, Cassie.
It is a lot of people, Anita. I mean, we got here at 10:30 this morning, and now there's 1,000 people or plus here, and I have some young soccer fans with me standing right here. They've got their USA jerseys on. Hey, guys, could I get a Go USA?
Go USA!
All right, I see a couple. Is that Pulisic? Who's on the back of your jersey? Who's your favorite? Is Pulisic your favorite player?
No, Flo Balogun.
Oh, he scores a lot of goals. How many goals do you think he's going to score today?
2 or 3.
2 or 3 goals. Who's your favorite player?
Pulisic.
Pulisic, are you sad that he's not playing today? Or are you going to still root him on?
I'm sad a little bit.
We're hoping that the USA is so good. All right, who's on your jersey? Do you have a name on it?
But my favorite player is Balogun. I know Christian Pulisic is injured, but I hope he comes on and plays in the second half of it. He's one of my. This USA team can win the World Cup.
I feel like you have a future in TV. You want to be an analyst?
Man, I want to be a professional soccer player. And
we're going to see you in the World Cup in what, 8 years?
Yeah.
All right. Who's your favorite player?
My favorite player is probably Flo Balogun because he scores a lot of goals and he's a really good part of the team. So.
Do you have a favorite player?
Pulisic probably.
Pulisic. All right. What do you think the score is going to be?
I hope the score. I feel like it might be like, I hope it's 4-1 again, like against Paraguay. I hope it's 4-1, but you never know. You never know. 3-1 USA. 3-1.
3-1? Did you say 4-1?
Probably 2-1.
2-1? And what's your
Probably like 2-0.
a clean sheet? All right, guys. Thanks for coming on the show. One more. Go USA.
Go USA!
Yes, lots of fans here. So we got the young ones, we got other ones enjoying some beverages down below. It's quite the scene here at recess for USA v Australia. It's coming up in 35 minutes.
Oh my goodness, Cassie, your job is in jeopardy right now. That young man was vying
I
for
know.
it.
They're telling me that you're going to take my job. He's still watching. It's so cute.
Okay, so now I need the expert analysis. What are you thinking we're going to see in this matchup?
I mean, this entire week we've been talking about the status of their star player, Christian Pulisic, and we now know that he is out today dealing with that calf injury. So Ricardo Pepi is starting in his place. That is obviously a huge storyline. Christian Pulisic is one of the stars across the world and one of the best players on this team. Creates so many chances offensively, which we saw in the first half again that game against Paraguay. So I think it's going to be a team effort. Weston McKennie, Des, to try and create more chances for this team. One thing we know about this Australia team, who also won in their first game against Turkey, that was a 2-0 victory, is they have the ability to break you down defensively, and then they also have a good, quick counter. So we know that the weakness of this United States team is their back line, and so that's going to have to come into play as they are taking a step up in class than they saw in their first match against Paraguay.
Now, I'm hearing that there is a huge Australian contingency there at recess as well today.
There is. So when we got here, we were staked out in this one little area, and someone came over and said, you know, this area is reserved. We need you guys to leave. So we stepped away, and all of a sudden we started seeing all these Socceroo fans setting up their flags. And so we talked to a couple earlier. They live in Chicago. They are from Australia. And I asked them how many people they were expecting. They didn't know the exact number, but I think they're expecting a very large crowd. And so they are welcomed here at recess alongside all of the USA fans. I believe they will be outnumbered, but they are equally as excited for this match, and there's so much at stake in this game alone because whoever wins will clinch the Group D, and they will then make it to the knockout rounds.
And yeah, give us a little more context. If we have not been locked in before, how this will work from here, what the USA needs to do, and then also maybe who their greatest foe or competitors will likely be.
We'll still have to look into that, but if you look at this USA team this year, I mean, last time they had a World Cup that was back in 2022, and they only scored 3 goals. And I feel like heading into this World Cup, they have a new head coach, and Mauricio Pochettino. They were trying to change their identity, and throughout the friendlies that we saw, there was this offensive explosion. We saw it again then in the first game against Paraguay, and then the expectations started to get higher and higher because they saw the ability for this team to produce. Now you have to do it in a step up in class against Australia. If you were looking at just FIFA World Ranking, the difference between the United States and Paraguay was pretty large. Now that is a little bit slimmer. I want to say the United States is currently ranked 15th after going through last week, and Australia is 24th in that range. And so this is going to be their toughest test to make it out of the group. And you just look at this World Cup as a whole. It's an expanded field, so 48 teams. The top 2 teams from each group make it out and make it into the elimination rounds of the knockout rounds, and then from there it is the 8 best third place teams. And so since the United States has 3 points, Australia also has 3 points. Whoever wins this game today could also end in a draw. Will clinch a spot in the knockout round, and that is a round of 32. We know that the United States has never won. The furthest they made it was back in 1930. I don't know if they are going to make it that far this year, but I think there's a lot more hope this year after that first game.
Yeah, after the first game, because that was just amazing to be able to watch that. But then also the fact that it's on home turf.
Okay, so Seattle, I don't know if you've seen the scenics of what that crowd is like right now, because they did this aerial view of right outside of Lumen Stadium. My brother just sent a picture in the family group chat because he's at the game. He said he's in the second to last row. But just the scene itself is so impressive. And we talked to a fan here earlier who was at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles for the first game, and he said it was just a wild experience to be able to see the atmosphere that's been created across home soil. And it's not just going to these games, it's what you see here at recess. I mean, we were talking to some fans who came in earlier with their 2-year-old and 6-month-old kid, trying to make sure they are introduced to soccer at a young age. And realistically speaking, soccer worldwide is the biggest sport. It is not the largest sport or most popular sport in the United States, so they're hoping to capture an entire new audience. And I think that game alone, stars like Christian Pulisic, Ricardo Pepi is a young player that could garner a ton of attention. The World Cup is meant for players to create legends and so legacies, and this is another opportunity for the United States men's national team to do that. And then also just hearing all these different countries, their fans coming to the United States and getting to experience some of these world-class stadiums. Their reaction to seeing places like Jerry's World in Dallas, going to Kansas City, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, they are wowed by the sports venues that we do have in this country.
Yeah, we're missing out, quite honestly, having them in Chicago. But listen, as you're talking, I'm looking, you were talking about, inspiring the next generation. I'm seeing some dads starting off Father's Day weekend doing a little double duty here as well with the babies right there.
Oh, yeah, there's one right next to me.
Right.
They got the headphones on, right? You put the headphones over the ear, and you just make sure that they're comfortable, and you can still enjoy a beverage if you need to. It's 1:30. You can still be home at a reasonable time. That's the beauty of it being a 2 o'clock kickoff. There's a lot of that. You're going to get a little bit of every type of crowd. We've seen young, we've seen older, and that's the fun part about sports. It brings everyone together.
Yeah, it really is. It's great to see it. Enjoy, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you throughout the rest of the afternoon as this match gets underway, and then we've got, of course, get the analysis once it's over. Hopefully, we're all screaming USA again.
I know, I'm waiting for the USA chance to break out. We are going to be joined by former U.S. men's national team player. He works with the Fire now, Frank Klopas, for post-game analysis that you can see after the game on Fox Chicago Plus.
Wonderful. We will see you soon.
Thanks, Anita.
Okay, take care. Oh, man, it's just the atmosphere there. I'm one of those folks no, I'm not the biggest soccer fan, but I like to be where the action is, right? So you just think about how many people are there for the watch party, and you're like, I want to be there. I'll figure out the match and I'll figure out those types of things when I get there, but I want to be there. Looks like they're going to have a great time, and we're definitely hoping that there is a USA win in the end. Of course, you can watch all the World Cup action on Fox Chicago. Plenty of it going on throughout today and in the many days to come. Look, is this a look to Seattle? Yeah, live look to Seattle, everybody. Look at all those folks packing in there. As Cassie was saying, I mean, this is one of the biggest sports throughout the world. Yes, here in the U.S. we love our football, but throughout the world, so many people who have made long trips to get here to be able to experience this action. For some people, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be able to see this type of action, World Cup action in person. And my, how they have gotten together today for this USA versus Australia match that's getting ready to get underway momentarily here. And again, we're hoping USA can pull this out and continue on with what could be a magical run. It's definitely started off on a great note already. All right, it's around 1:32. Give us 2 minutes and we'll be back with our next conversation with the youngest black alderman in Illinois. Welcome back, everyone. It's 1:34 right now, and as we celebrate Juneteenth here today, you think about those who came before, the struggle that they endured in order for us to have the freedoms that we have today, and to be able to inspire generations to continue to take the baton and run it forward. And for sure, our next guest has done just that, and he's continuing to inspire yet another generation. We have 22-year-old Rockford Alderman Tamir Bell, the youngest black alderman in the state of Illinois. And look at that crowd.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well, and my heart is just beaming right now to see you and all of those young people who you're with. Who are they?
Well, I'm here at the Aurora and Black Youth Summit, the third annual event. Was honored to be presented an award by these young individuals. I got presented the Juneteenth Trailblazer Award today, and had the honor of serving as their keynote speaker to kick off the summit.
I see some crowns next to you. First and foremost, congratulations to you on the award that you received today. Super proud of you. Tell me, do you have like the king and the king and the prince? Who do you have with you?
The king and the prince are right next to me, right here. And where's the prince at? Right here. Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me, when you get in environments like this, what's your message to these young people today?
Yeah, my message to the young people today was very simple, that they are never too young to make a difference. I believe strongly in the next generation of leaders. And as you can see, these young people took the time out of their day to day to not only celebrate Juneteenth, but also be poured into by leaders in their community, whether that be former police chiefs or mental health professionals. So it's an amazing day today with these young leaders. And again, just encourage them that they're never too young to make a difference.
Tamir, you have taken that message to heart yourself. Some people would think 22, like, when I was just graduating from college, and the world was like, okay, the world is your oyster. Let me figure out my way. How have you figured out your way into politics and to become an alderman this fast?
Yeah, so I have to give credit to the individuals, the residents of the 13th Ward in the city of Rockford, where I have the honor of serving. They put their trust in me to represent them on city council in Rockford, Illinois. And my inspiration certainly are the people, the neighbors that I get to represent.
Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that they are seeing so much in you in terms of what our future generation holds in a positive light. Do you feel the weight of that?
Certainly, not even just the pressure of making sure that I'm a positive influence on young people, that the individuals sitting behind me or those individuals in Rockford, but also when you look at I think when you look at what's happening at the national level and the stripping of the Voting Rights Act, and you look at our federal government not prioritizing Black and brown children and taking away access to healthcare, that's the burden that I feel is that we have to continue to work and unite and organize against what is not benefiting us as communities like Rockford or here in Aurora. So making sure that our young people understand the importance of their voice is why I'm here today, and super excited to continue to speak with these young people throughout the summit.
Mm-hmm. And what I love too about what you're doing is that, I mean, we're in the midst of Juneteenth weekend, and as I mentioned when I was introducing you, it is a weekend where there's so much going on. To think back to those who paved the way for you to be where you are today, for all of us to be where we are today, and to also look at, okay, how do we take this forward? Who were some of the people that you looked at along the way in your journey to where you are today that made you say, this is where I aspire to be?
Yeah, certainly. If you look at history, right, the late Congressman John Lewis, you look at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. To President Barack Obama. I always joke and say he's my long distance mentor that I've yet to have the opportunity to meet.
I will he's one in day, town, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I need to head to Chicago, but also, when I look at my mentor and Assistant Majority Leader, Representative Maurice West in the state of Illinois House. I look at him in the 67th district in the city of Rockford as a mentor to me. He's certainly an inspiration. And I was one of these young people just a few years ago, and now I get the opportunity of inspiring them to do the same thing, if not work in healthcare or in business to make our community a stronger place.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think is, I mean, you mentioned some of the things that are challenges of right now, but what do you think is maybe the greatest challenge to that next generation?
Yeah, I think the greatest challenge right now, just from my perspective, is the fear that's been given to us and not the resources that should be. When you look at the resources that should be, it's making sure that families can afford groceries and afford gas. Instead, we're getting fear that, we're going into war, we're in war, we're looking at funding being stripped away from education, all of those things. So Yeah, I guess that's my answer to that question.
And so, if you strip that fear away and you continue to do what you're doing, which is replace it with inspiration and a pathway forward for these young people and so many more, what are maybe your goals moving forward? What are the things you see moving forward for yourself, and what do you hope for these young people around you?
Yeah. So for what I hope for the people around me right now is that they're not only inspired by the things that I am doing, but also take the information that they're getting at this summit and really take that in and try to take that next step in reaching out to the mentors and the community leaders that took the time out of their day to pour into the next generation. And as for myself, just continuing to do what I'm doing. I feel called to exactly what I'm doing right now and inspiring the next generation and advocating for change within the city of Rockford at this moment, representing the 13th Ward in the city of Rockford, fighting for food access, investments in infrastructure, attainable and affordable housing. That's what I'm focused on right now.
Well, I see so much more for you in the future, and I look forward to catching up with you along the way when we're saying, I remember talking to him when he was the youngest, alderman in the state of Illinois one day. And I'm looking forward to the bright futures for all of the young people who are around you, those who have physical crowns on their heads, and those who should know that they have a crown, even if it's not a physical one. And we expect and we hope great things for them and their futures, just as we do for you and yours.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Tell us before I let you go, what else is happening in the summit? I mean, where do you go from here?
Yeah, so where we're going from here, we have a Juneteenth flag raising that I'm super excited to be a part of. We're going to raise that flag as a symbolic measure to the resilience and the sacrifice of Black Americans throughout our country.
Well, enjoy the rest of the very impactful and moving opportunities that you're providing for these young people and for the area, for Aurora and for Rockford as well when you get back there. Thank you so much and happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
All right, you all take care. Bye.
Happy Juneteenth.
Love it. Absolutely love all those smiling faces. And you just, there's so many times when we wonder about the next generation, when we're troubled by the next generation, when we're scratching our heads out to how to help or reach the next generation. It's a wonderful opportunity to see those smiles, to see the crowns, and to see a young man just 22 years old who is already doing amazing things, but is making sure that as he rises, he is also leaving that hand behind to be able to pull others up as well. Let's take a 2-minute break, everyone, before we get to our next conversation here about Father's Day. Not just the full weekend, but a very special continuing tradition that's happening here in Cook County. right, welcome back, everyone. It's around 1:46 right now, and as we round out this week and round out even this first hour here on Chicago Live, let's talk about a few of the trending stories that we have on our website right now. Again, keep in mind we are just moments away, yes, we know, from the FIFA World Cup kicking off with USA and Australia, and so that's going to be on Fox Chicago, so you can do your dual screen. So we, we'll continue to watch and listen into the conversations here online, and then also, you can watch the USA and Australia get into action. And in fact, if you go onto our website and kind of peruse around our website, we have a huge section right at the top that's talking about the FIFA World Cup 2026 as we give you this live picture over, Seattle, where all of these folks, thousands of people have come from around the world to be there here for today. But really online, we have how to watch today's FIFA World Cup 2026 matches. So we've got the lineup of all of the different matches. If you're at home and you're watching and you're not there in Seattle, couldn't get there, it's okay. We're either going to show you the matches, or we're also going to tell you about some of the things surrounding the matches. We have TSA even sounding an alarm after World Cup fans packed bags became, people are putting a lot of American staples in those bags and then wondering how they're going to get home. So there's plenty of things on our website that you can check out. But we have our next guest who is here, so I'll get into some of the other web trenders a little bit later on in our time here. Again, we'll be going until 4 o'clock, so plenty of time to get into our web trenders. But in the interest of time for our next guest, we have Dr. Mika Battle, who is here, the founder of A Bridge to Freedom. Thank you so much for making time for us and for what you do on a regular basis to keep this program at the Cook County Jail going strong to encourage fathers during this very special weekend. I think you're on mute right now, Dr. Mika. And we want to make sure we can hear what you have to say.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. All right, wonderful. How long have you been doing this program?
Oh, we've been on Bridge to Freedom for almost 19 years, since 2009. Me, myself, who came home from prison in 2002, and I've been home about 24 years now. Went to school 13 years, got a bachelor's in criminal justice, master's in criminal justice, and
Wow.
doctorate in organizational management and leadership. And after years of struggles with drugs and just life in the streets and trauma and all that, I just thought Bridge to Freedom was something important to do. And we've been doing it for that long.
Wow. And tell me about the impact it's made, because of course, when people hear about a program like this, I'm sure their minds have lots of questions about, well, how does it work? I mean, what exactly does this program offer to those who are incarcerated, and how does it change them moving forward?
It changes them moving forward because people with lived experiences, which are 80% of our staff that are standing before them, facilitating groups, facilitating workshops or whatever, have the lived experiences. And so they're able to have empathy and understand what men and women who have been impacted by the criminal justice system have gone through. So we go throughout the state of Illinois to prisons and the Cook County Jail, and this is where our participants come from.
Have you ever, or how do you track progress? How do you know that the work that you're doing is working?
The way that we track our progress is by the recidivism rate. One of our missions is to lower the recidivism in the city of Chicago, in the state of Illinois, in the county of Cook. So right now we're at a 85% success rate, meaning out of 100 of our clients, maybe only 15 have gone back to
Wow.
jail. And so with 80 that have not, that are either working or doing their parenting or in school or something like that. We feel as though that is really progress.
It is amazing to have that kind of statistic. And what have you heard from those who have come through these programs, who have done the Bridge to Freedom, about the impact, the difference, the moment something clicked to say no more?
How life-saving it is. How life-saving it is. Me myself, when I was in the streets, when I was on drug, I fentanyl had just hit the streets,
Wow.
and so I OD'd off of fentanyl probably 6 times, flatline. But each time the Lord saw fit to bring me back, and it's for the work that I'm doing now. But there are people who are in the jails, come out. Some of our, even our staff were clients at one time, and now they're staff. And they just talk about how life changing it is, and how their lives were saved, and how their families are being impacted by their new walk. Yeah.
And when you say lives changed and families that are affected, for sure. I mean, when someone is incarcerated, it does affect the entire family. And so, doing this during Father's Day weekend, how does it help them to be better fathers or more present fathers in the future?
Well, yesterday, our panel consisted of fathers who have been impacted by the criminal justice system, either had been in prison or had been on alcohol or drugs and gone to jail and have children. So they were able to be on that panel and speak directly to these men. As a matter of fact, when we were there yesterday, probably three-fourths of them raised their hands that they were fathers, right? And so what happens is children are so impacted by parents that are behind bars. They have a higher propensity to go to jail if their parents are already in jail or have been impacted by the criminal justice system. So these are some of the things that we were telling them on yesterday. And we even had a 17-year-old with us who was in our training construction workshop, who had been impacted by the criminal justice system. He graduated this year from school, but he had caught a case while he was in school. And he was able to say how Bridge to Freedom had helped him so much, because he's working in the summer program, and he was able to speak to these fathers. And these fathers were able to speak back to him to say, don't mess up your life. And he's going to Jackson State University in August, and they were able to speak to him like they would their own son. So it was very impactful for him to be there.
Wow, wow. It sounds like moving moments for sure. And I'm sure you've seen many of them over the years. And what does it say about Sheriff Dart or those who are there at the Cook County Jail, that they see this as a program that needs to be had and needs to continue there?
Well, one of the things over the years, there used to be a woman called Mother York, and she used to go in the jails and in the prisons, and they knew what kind of success she had coming in, bringing churches, foods, workshops. I mean, just preaching the gospel back then. But now with Tom Dart and all of them that are there, and yesterday we were with the deputy directors over at Division 11. We work with the deputy director in Division 3. They know how impactful the lives of men and women who have the lived experiences that can come back and stand before the people that are there to say, I was once in that place where you were at. And look at me now because I did this or that, or went to school, or got a job, or did drug rehab, or something like that, that my life has changed. And those are the kind of stories that they want to hear. So the administration is well aware that we become the vaccines for the infection that is going on inside of prisons and jails, because we have lived what they're trying to get, trying to get over nobody in their right mind when they were small and you asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Nobody said a dope fiend. Nobody said, I want to go to jail. Nobody said, I want to commit crimes. They had dreams and aspirations. They had things they wanted to do, but trauma, life just kept lifing on them, and something happened that turned their little lives around. When they looked up, they were too far in it and didn't know how to get out.
And it is a cycle that no one wants to be a part of. And if you can help break that chain, and especially help people to then become productive citizens who are helping the children that need them in the future. What a beautiful thing. Again, thank you for what you do. One of my mother's favorite songs is about, making sure that your living is not in vain. If I can help somebody as they travel on. And so thank you for using your life, your lived experience to change so many others.
Thank you so much for having us on this beautiful Juneteenth day. And happy
Juneteenth.
Father's Day to fathers everywhere.
Happy Juneteenth, and yes, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you.
157, everyone, and I know if you've never lived that life, sometimes it's hard to see what she is doing, and you might wonder, like, why? If someone has had a negative influence in society, why? But at some point in time, if they're returning to society, you would hope that there are more people like Dr. Mika Battle who are reaching these people when they are behind bars to help change them, to help give them a better sight of what a future minus crime can look like, so that they never return to those spaces. I value what she does, and I'm glad that we had the opportunity to talk with her today. 158, give us 2 minutes and we will be back. I'll let you know where we're going in our second hour here on Chicago Live for the day. couple of weeks when it comes to the weather. And so it's great to be able to see the sun shining out. Let's take a look at some of our views around the city here, and you can just see, I mean, it's a beautiful Friday. Look at that. The boats are out, and I'm sure they will be packed, all of our waterways. Today, which is a national holiday for Juneteenth, but then also tomorrow. Now, will the boats need to be docked by Sunday? Maybe so. These clear skies or partly cloudy skies that we have today are going to change over the next few hours here, going into Sunday especially. Look at the boat of all of the visitors there. Got a lot of folks in town for the weekend, and so we're hoping that we can get our meteorologist, I think it's Mark Strell today, who's going to come up around 2:45. And he's going to talk to us about what we can anticipate for the weekend, especially if you have some outdoor plans. You know, you might need to make some revisions by Sunday, but we'll get into the details of that with him around 2:45. We're also going to talk about the Red Cross doing a World Sickle Cell event happening this weekend as well. It's all tied to Juneteenth, and so that's really interesting what they are doing, why they're doing, the timing of it, and the details of a disease that so few people really fully understand. I mean, I have known people with sickle cell and the battles that they have had to overcome in dealing with sickle cell. I never would have known had I not then known someone with it. So we're going to get some information that I think will be very helpful for many from the Red Cross coming up around 2:30, that conversation. Around 2:15 or so, we'll have George Cardenas, Commissioner George Cardenas, who is going to be, I think, here in studio. Yeah, here in studio around 2:15, so not too much longer from now that he'll be here in studio with me. You know, we have this ever-growing mayoral race for 2027 already. Here in 2026, we have Commissioner Cardenas, who just jumped in the race this week. We have Comptroller Susana Mendoza, who was with us here on the show a couple of weeks ago when she announced that she's officially in the race. Maria Pappas announced on the show that she intends to run this time around. That's Cook County Treasurer Maria Pappas. Congressman Quigley, spoke to him yesterday out at the John Lewis Plaza for the Obama Presidential Center grand opening ceremonies, and he has also, stated his intentions to run for mayor in 2027, as well as two businessmen, Joe Holberg and Liam Stanton, who I had the opportunity to speak with on Chicago Report. So what's that? Already 6 people in the race officially. Did you hear who I didn't say? We still don't know if Mayor Johnson is actually going to run for re-election, and there's a few others who are rumored as well. So it's setting itself up to be quite the interesting time in 2027 and already as we get toward February of 2027. So you'll be hearing more, and if there are other people who enter the race, we welcome them too as things move along. But again, Commissioner Cardenas will be here with us very soon. We're going to talk a little bit more about Juneteenth and the family festival that's coming up. But first, let's take a look at the World Cup Fan Zone. Washington, D.C., the National Mall. Freedom 250 is launching this FIFA World Cup 2026 Fan Zone there for people to be able to experience all of the excitement that comes with the World Cup. And of course, we have it here in the United States this year. And so that is one of the things that definitely has a lot of people wanting to see and experience all that they can. This is to Seattle, where you can see people have gathered. The match just started. Again, USA and Australia. Now, it literally just started 0-0 right now, so you don't see as much of the action. We were seeing a lot of people kind of walking in. No, people are sitting there ready to cheer on their teams. Obviously, we're cheering for the USA, but even when we were catching up with Cassie Carlson at recess for the watch party that's happening here in the city, there were a lot of people from Australia there at recess as well, who live right here in in Chicago. So a lot of excitement, a lot of great things that are happening, whether it's the FIFA World Cup or the Juneteenth activities that are happening today and into the weekend. And that brings us to our first conversation for the hour. That is with one of the festival organizers. This is for the Beverly Morgan Park Juneteenth Fest, now in year 7, Dr. Delina Bailey. Hi there. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hello, thank you for having us.
Tell me how you grow this opportunity for 7 years.
Yes, so the Juneteenth Family Festival began in 2019. Our founder, Dr. Shania Gray, was noticing in February in Beverly, what is very popular is the Irish Parade, and there were a lot of banners out promoting the Irish Parade in the month of February. And of course, our question was, where's our promotion for Black History Month? And during that time, she met with Jarima Gorham from Burst Into Books, and they came up with the Juneteenth Family Festival. So we had the first festival in Dan Ryan Woods in 2019, where we had about 350 visitors. 2020 happened, and of course we couldn't have the festival, but what we wanted to do was still promote our Black community, our heritage of African and African Americans. So what we did was promote to support our small Black businesses. And then we were able to have the festival in 2021, where we chose Longwood, in that is part of Beverly and Morgan Park. And the main idea of it was, at one point, that was the dividing line in our community among those that were African and African Americans and whites. So we wanted to have the festival there, stomp on that ground, because we are a diverse neighborhood. We're not just the Irish Parade, we're a melting pot of other cultures, and we wanted to show that and embrace that in our community of Beverly and Morgan Park. So to our surprise, we were expecting 500 and we had 1,000 attendees for 2021. And then it grew the next year to 2,500 and then 3,000, and now we're at 5,000. So it's beyond our dreams and our imagination, where when we get tired doing it, we have thought about maybe we should hang it up. But when we see people come, we always say it's all worth the labor of love and the work that we do for the festival.
I mean, to grow something from 300 to 5,000, it does sound like an awesome thing, but also a tiring thing. Talk about some of the work that goes into putting this on year in and year out.
Yes. So we have the festival the third Saturday of June every year. And after the festival, we try to rest and take a break in July, and then we're right back at it into the planning in August. I'm the sponsorship coordinator, so I start with the groundwork of looking for grants, applying for grants, looking for sponsors, where we also go into food vendors, because we want to support our Black-owned food vendors and looking for them, where we've seen them all around, but then we learned that there's not as many out there available as possible. And it's also to support those businesses, as well as our vendors. Our vendors are African and African Americans, and we look for those that are working in small brick and mortars, also in their homes, because we want to support them, as well as health and wellness. So these are all different committees that we have. And then our volunteers, I believe it's 11 of us. We're all females, all from different backgrounds, where we were born and raised in Morgan Park, migrated to Morgan Park, or work in Morgan Park in the Beverly neighborhood. So we start, like I stated, in August, to try to start getting those dollars, those volunteers, the vendors as well, to get them registered, because we do have to apply for those permits. It's a labor of love.
A labor of love for sure. But I also hear you beaming with pride as you speak about what you all have been able to do and offer to the city. And that's a wonderful thing. The city that you love, the city that, that raised you, to be able to come back and in a full circle way like this is really important for people to see. And I really think that, when we talk about full circle, that's a really big part of what Juneteenth is about, going from those who came before and those who laid the groundwork to then, give the rights that we have today, but then also like looking back and looking forward this weekend.
Yes, you hit the nail on the head. That is our primary goal, is to celebrate our ancestors, celebrate those of yesterday and today, as well as those of the future. We have a kids area where in our kids area, we have representatives from HBCUs, so Chicago Public Libraries, non-for-profits that have programs for the youth. So we invest in different areas. It's not just a festival where we have wonderful entertainment. We change the entertainment every year, so it's not always cookie cutter where people come to the festival the next year and say, oh, I've already seen this or experienced this. We listen to the attendees. We take surveys to see what's needed, and what the people want. So in our children's area, we have games and all, but we also have resources for them and for the families. We also have our health and wellness section. We take advantage of our African and African American population being in attendance. So we provide those resources of health screenings, health education. AstraZeneca is one of our sponsors that have been a sponsor for a couple of years. They're great with giving information for colon screenings and colon cancer screenings and cancer information. We also have Morgan Park's Roots organization that is this year, which is different from last year when they were there. They're providing information for parents regarding vaping and the risk of vaping to educate their youth. As well as part of our wellness, we have not-for-profits that attend the festival to promote their services, whether it's from domestic violence, after-school programs, shelters, food pantries. We have county care there providing food boxes. So the whole thing for the festival is to celebrate those before us and what did they do for us to be standing here in today and to have the festival, but to also make sure there are those after us that could continue on with the festival, but also service our community and our Chicagoans. Just because it's in Beverly and Morgan Park, everybody's welcome. The whole purpose of the festival is to have a welcoming environment for everybody. And I believe that's one of the reasons why it's grown so much, because I've always said it's a family reunion. When we see each other, you're family.
I love it. Thank you so much again for how you're pouring back into the community. It sounds like it's going to be phenomenal. And so we hope that we're talking to you for year 8, year 10, year 15, all of those. I know I just made you even more tired than you already are.
No,
but
I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it.
Everyone, this is going to be from noon to 7 p.m. tomorrow, Longwood Drive between 110th and 111th Streets. Thank you again, and happy Juneteenth.
Thank you so much. Happy Juneteenth.
All right, take care. Just about 2:15, and I do believe that our next guest is here in studio, so give us 2 minutes, and we're going to bring in Commissioner George Cardenas. 4:16, everyone. Thanks so much for staying with us. And we're actually taking you down to San Antonio, Texas, where you can see a heavy police presence there. This is the SWAT team in a neighborhood there where we know that there has been an officer involved shooting. Here are the details that we have at this point in time as we watch them kind of stand in ready position at this point. This is on the north side of San Antonio where this is happening. And we know that first responders are reporting they have taken one person to the hospital. No word on their condition right now, but these SWAT units have been on the scene for at least the last hour here. It looks like 30 minutes to an hour that they have been on the scene here, surrounding a home where they believe a suspect may be barricaded inside. And so the police chief sent out a note saying that they're on the way, that he is on the way, and he is expected to give an update on what led up to the shooting very soon. We do expect him to have some type of briefing, a press conference here to give a little bit more information on what's taken place there in what's called Stone Oak, part of San Antonio there again on the north side of Stone Oak. Kind of zooming out here so we can see a little bit more and have a bit more context though. I mean, you don't see a lot of activity happening other than, you know, the huge trucks of SWAT members that are there in the streets. So again, we don't have much information as to what's taken place here, and the police chief is on the way to the scene to give us a briefing shortly. If we can take that live, that'll be great. If we can't, we will give you a wrap up of what exactly we glean from that press conference just as soon as it happens. But again, we are looking live here to San Antonio where there has been an officer involved shooting. The SWAT team is here on the scene. We know one person has been taken to the hospital, and we're awaiting the police chief to give a briefing any moment now. Bringing you back here to Chicago, everyone, here in the studio at 2:18, and we have Commissioner George Cardenas. I said it's his week because he hopped into he is making the rounds.
Yes.
This is for the 2027 mayoral race, and
Correct.
it's already a crowded field.
It seems to be, or it's going to be, our crowded field. It appears to be, yes.
What do you think that says about the moment that we're in, that so many people are stepping forward to say they want next?
Well, look, I think everybody understands the city is going through hard times right now, and on so many levels. And you know, out of the pandemic, a lot of things have happened. You know, you can chuck it to all kinds of various factors,
Sure.
but the fact of the matter is that the city's stuck in a rut from an economic standpoint, from a growth standpoint, from a safety standpoint, from a budget standpoint. And so a lot of folks are saying, wait, I got some answers. I want to be part of the debate. I want to be part of leading, because I think we want the best for Chicago. I know I do. I grew up in the city. I went to school in the city, Lane Tech High School, and I went to the military, came back, went to college here.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for, you know, here, I went to college here in this city. I stayed here. I stayed local instead of going someplace else to work. I mean, my life here, my career, I invested here, and I have a lot to say. I was part of the neighborhood where I grew up at. Was not easy. It is why I left for the military, to be honest with you. I wanted a chance at a future. I wanted a chance at life instead of getting stuck. Bad choices with also bad friendships, right? They sometimes, you know, as friends, you think they're going to do the best for you, but they don't. And I didn't want any part of that, so I left and I came back and I kind of built my life on that premise. But now, you know, years later, now I'm here. I served in the city council for 20 years, now board of review for 4 years now. And I said, I know this area very well. I know how to make things better. I know budgeting, I know management of resources. And let me take a look at the underbelly of city's finances. And I did that. Before I announced, before I said anything, I said, well, let me take a look and see what can be done. If I can add something to the solution. And what I found was a lot of problems. I found you know, that we had increased spending above inflation, twice the rate of inflation, to be honest. I found that our pensions were out of whack, that workforce productivity was also trending in the wrong direction. We had We had blown past like 12 percentage points beyond inflation, which tells you that that's not also sustainable. And so I came up with pillars. And I heard from another interview, they're saying, well, you seem to have all these ideas, but they're kind of vague. And I'm like, no, I have a plan. I brought it with me, Mayoral Platform Plan 2027, and it's got 9 pillars. It's got fiscal discipline, workforce productivity, public safety, procurement, healthcare, pensions, economic growth and housing, department efficiency, parenting matters. And all of these pillars have an under, which means that there's a work file, that there's a document, multi-pages long, that details out how we're going to get all that stuff done.
Okay, so of the 9 pillars, which do you think is the most pressing? And give me the details of that thus far.
Well, you need to have this fiscal discipline, because without that, you can't do parenting matters. Without the department efficiency, again, some of those savings, you can't do a lot of the soft programming that needs to happen in communities that really need it. So if you're hard pressed for dollars, you're going to cut the wrong things. And we don't need to do that. We have to balance out the needs of Chicagoans. And the way to do that is by being smart when you procure, when you do contracts. You got to negotiate better. You got to negotiate smart. And is that happening? I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it, because my analysis tells me that there's cost overruns. There is folks, individuals that are deciding for the city instead of the city officials deciding themselves. They're hiring somebody else. I noticed in aviation, for example, that the PMs, it's called program managers, we have spent from 2019 to 2026 like $2 billion. That's a lot of money. And I checked the national trend. We'll see what was spent in other airports, and we're running like 8 percentage points above that. So what does that tell you? We're not managing, we're not getting in there. And I think the information really is not there, so maybe that's part of it. I want to bring all that out and say, here's the analytics that I found from all of that. And why don't we talk to each departmental commissioner and lay it all on the table and say, explain to me, how is it that you're running overtime when we just gave you more staff? Explain to me, how is it that you're paying more for tonnage on garbage? Explain to me why recycling rate is at 3%, where it was 10% when I left, but it's 3% now, and we're paying millions and millions of dollars to pick up nothing? Doesn't make any sense.
Have you, as you've been preparing for this run and going through and getting the data, have you talked to any of the other commissioners or those who could give you a little bit more insight as to how they feel things have ended up where they are?
You really can't, only because they work for the city. I don't work for the city. They don't answer to me.
They don't answer to you, but if I'm thinking, well, I might be the next person leading them, not in an official capacity,
right,
but like, help me help you. What is it that is going on here, so that I might be able to address it if the time comes?
So I was in the city for 20 years, as you know, and I can tell you that it's not as easy as it sounds. Only because, they're worried about job security. They're worried about they themselves and their families. I mean, especially if you've been there 20 years or 25 years. Like some commissioners. And so they're worried about making somebody angry. These are exempt employees, which means they can be fired, for lack of a better word. I mean, they can be let go for no reason. So you don't want to put yourself out there and helping receive. So that's why I'm like, I don't want to hurt anybody. I know I have my data, and I think we will have the right time, at the right opportune time, to bring it forward. I think that some of the aldermen will be briefed on this, and they can themselves ask the questions.
So how did you come to your data then?
Oh, well, I used to be an auditor, my first job out of college. I was also a management consultant. So analytics is something that I know how to do very well. And I know how to parse data. I know how to do a lot of things that other normal people would not be able to do. And some of it is proprietary.
Okay. People are going to ask that, though. When you say,
yes,
I've got this data and this is my
well,
plan, people are going to say, well, how did you get the data?
I was just looking at the files, and there's I think it's like 9,000 files, I think, in that folder that, that where I've been working with some of the files. But let me ask you, I think, no, not to ask you, but to answer the question, I think more in layman's terms. And how did they get some of the data? If you go to the data portal, City of Chicago, it has in there the contracts and the payments from 1996, I think. So if you download those, if you download the contracts and allow the payments, you have a working file. Now, the budgets are also in the data portal. So you can look at the budgets and you can download the budgets, whatever year you may want to look at. And then you can also download appropriations. It's in there for every year. And I think it goes back a lot of years. I only needed 7 or 8 from 19 to 2026. And you can also download grand details. What I mean by that is like money that flows into the corporate books from other sources, from the state, from the federal government, and empowerment funds as well, or the special funds. So it's all in there, so you can download the information, look at a particular time frame, and start really looking at okay, let's look at departmental spending or budgets from 2019, and let's look at 2026 and kind of compare the two. But there was a break in there because of COVID.
Sure.
The spend was higher. So we had to go back and sort of fracture that and then look at from 2022 to 2026 and so forth. So in order to compare apples to apples, of course. So it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But again, this is something that I know how to do, and this is how I got my information.
What do you think is maybe the worst deal that the city has made that you were able to find?
Well, I mean, people will tell you that the worst deal was the parking meter deal. Okay, everybody knows that that's a debacle that happened. And a lot of people didn't know, or they're finding out that I did abstain from that vote only because I didn't have all the facts. For no other reason. I'm a numbers guy, and I want to get to that decision. But if I don't know something and it's too quick for me, I'm going to pull back. And by the way, Barack Obama took a lot of those decisions. He abstained a lot at the Senate, in the Illinois Senate. Sometimes you have to do that.
So looking at where we are now and the debacle of, okay, well, can we sell it? Maybe not. Should we go with this company? And you are one who abstained in the beginning. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think you were talking about the new plan, or they want to buy.
Proposal.
No, the proposal to the old current owners want to sell the rights to this financial instrument, or this contract. Look, I think legally, I don't know where we stand, but if we have legal standing, I would urge my colleagues to do all they can to leverage that and get something for the citizens of Chicago. I'll say that. Because it's all about legal standing. If you have that and they find a way to get that, I would find that leverage and get something for the city of Chicago. Because think about it, I think we have 50 years left or so still.
Some of the alders feel like they haven't gotten enough information.
Right.
When you were saying you didn't have enough information and decided to abstain, was that because you weren't getting that information from the mayor at the time? Because some feel as though they're not getting it from the mayor right now.
I think part of it is and I'm not here, partaking blame or anything. I think when you're in that space and it moves quite fast and they got to make a decision, it's really the people, the budget director, the CFO, the ones that are running the play to get you that information, right? The mayor is got a lot of things to do, a lot of things to see and all that stuff, so he's running around. He's really relying on those financial experts to guide him and also make sure that the aldermen have all the right information so they can make that decision. So, I'll just tell you how it works, because as a team, you can't, a coach doesn't really impact the game when you're in the game, you know what I mean? From the sidelines, as you're coaching, but there's other people that are making plays. The same thing happens in the city, and I think the aldermen should have the information, should be asking the officials that are running the play, meaning the CFO and the budget director, or whoever is the comptroller, whoever it is, that you need more information, and they should be getting it. They should be satisfied, and not to say to prolong it. I think you need enough time to say, okay, any normal person would take this long to analyze this transaction. Let me do that. Give me a week or so, because I'm not an expert. So they should be able to get that time so they can analyze it properly. Because I would support my colleagues 100% in getting enough time to do their and to make their decision.
I'm going to ask you about a couple more things before I let you go. And
Sure.
You do have the parental, notation in your guidelines that you have pulled up. Obviously, the accountability measure that went before the alders this week did not pass.
Right.
What were your thoughts on that? And how do you curb teen gatherings, mass gatherings, teen takeovers, however you want to deem them? How would you approach handling and changing what we are seeing?
So I spent a lot of time researching this, and I put together a document. I think it's like 28 pages long, so it's very detailed. And my research showed, because I went to U of C Crime Lab information, I went to all kinds of data sources to find out, what's working, what's not working, but the data did not show that curfews worked, and the data did not show that, parent liability also was beneficial. First of all, Illinois limits parental liability at the state level. So it's not like you can just impose fines upon fines and that'd be okay. But I think to me, after analyzing all of the pieces, I realized that there is a lot of funding for all kinds of organizations. So we are doing that. I think there's a lot of good work being done. But it's fractured, it's fragmented. So I'm thinking, what if, instead of doing always the backhand, find solutions towards the end, why don't we fix the front end? Which means that why don't we go to the parents first? Why don't we get them in a structure that benefits them, that helps them into job placement, into healthcare issues, some mental health healing, if that would be. And that to me seemed more of the benefit, or at least the strategy that would work. And then you get the teens, if you do this multi-generational, at least 2-generational strategy, you get then the parents in a healthy way engaged, and then you have the teens, that come really as a support to the parent, because the teens will come. If the parent's gonna be involved, the teens are very likely to come in, according to the data. And so to me, it made sense to fund that from all the other fragmented spending that we have. It's there to really fix a lot of the problems with family structures, because we really haven't done that.
Okay. Do you feel like you would then influence large gatherings from that standpoint?
No,
because
I think
it
it
seems
is.
like that would maybe do pockets.
Because I think we want to, with the organizations that are on the ground, Chicago Cred, you got Chicago Youth Works, and you got My Shot, My Future, and all of those, and After School Matters. You would get those, and I think in concert, they already have the book. They already have all these individuals, teens, and some parents getting involved. We just go recruit those parents where those teens are misbehaving, and then bringing them into the fold and saying, would you like to be part of this new program? Would you like to bring your kid also here, so we can then look at programming and see what's working, and match you up with what we're seeing that could work for you. So support parents, and accountability is going to be there. And I call it accountability back, because at the end, it's like tiers, 1, 2, 3, progression, right? So the fourth one would be, okay, we've done, we've had the gatherings, we've had the support, you got your stipends and all that, and we're still not really getting any results. That's not going to work. And then we get to the consequences.
So one last thing would be interacting. You've talked about a lot of financial issues for the city of Chicago. How much do you think of that is Chicago versus a fracture, to use your word, with Springfield or even Washington, D.C.? And how do you repair those fractures?
Well, definitely they're all connected. The state of Illinois, you need to be working with the state of Illinois. And the reason I say that is because a lot of the spend that the city does is transportation, is education, and there's just a lot of programs. Well, Medicaid is. I was checking one of the contracts. And I'm thinking, well, that's kind of Medicaid funding, but are they really getting Medicaid funding? We have to sort of audit that. But the point is that if you go to the state and you say, wait a second, so the city is shelling out all kinds of transportation dollars to CTA and also paying the pension difference or pickup, as they call it, to CPS, and they had a big fight about that last year. Why isn't the state on this and help the city, alleviate the city from those cost constraints? So I think more needs to be done on that end. I think you got to go to Springfield, negotiate that, and say, look, this is a different day. The CPS governance needs to stand on its own. There will be an elected school board, which means that the city is separate from the public school system, not totally, but meaning from a budget standpoint. And then CTA is the same way, and CHA also gets federal funding. And we need to have all these entities properly managed and go to Springfield and go to the federal government and get their funding. And we should all be working in concert to make sure that happens. And also we should all be working with how to manage this whole complex system and saying, why is it that we're all working disparately, but we share resources? Why don't we procure together? Why don't we manage together so that the savings flow to the citizens? Doesn't that make sense?
We'll let the voters decide. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. George Cardenas, Commissioner George Cardenas, we appreciate you. It's been
Just
a busy
George
week
is
for
fine.
you.
Georgie also works.
I'm sure we'll be talking a lot to you along the way again
Thank
for
you.
the 2027
And happy Juneteenth,
mayoral
guys.
race. Happy Juneteenth. 2:38. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay, welcome back, everyone. 2:40 right now. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's move on with our conversations here and talk a little bit more about World Sickle Cell Day and how the Red Cross is getting involved for this special opportunity. We have Brandis Clayton Virgil, who is joining us now. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me what you think people don't understand about sickle cell in 2026.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people don't understand that it's a day-to-day battle. It's a day-to-day fight. You know, it's not just about pain crisis. It's about getting out of bed sometimes, feeling your best. We deal with organ damage. We deal with strokes. We deal with severe anemia. I myself, at the age of 38, just had to have a hip replacement
Wow.
due to AVN from sickle cell. So I always tell people that there are a lot more complications uh, with sickle cell than just pain crises.
Wow. And I mean, is this an ongoing? Has there ever been any type of solution that I mean, what does the future look like if someone is diagnosed with sickle cell? Is there like, oh well, there is a cure on the way? What does the outlook look like?
Absolutely. So they do have cures right now, bone marrow transplants, but those can cost millions of dollars, like a lot of money. And, the average people who really deal with sickle cell probably can't afford that. I do know some that can, but I was diagnosed with sickle cell at 2 years old myself.
Wow.
And I'm blessed to be 40 years old now. So there is a life beyond sickle cell. You just have to learn how to navigate these things. I actually met someone, his name is John, at the sickle cell clinic yesterday. He's 75 years old.
Oh, wow.
So yes, there's absolutely a future with sickle cell. You just have to learn how to navigate. We can't do things that everyone else can do. Growing up, I couldn't go swimming with my friends because that would trigger a sickle cell crisis, or I couldn't fall like my friends could fall and play rough and all those things because I would find myself directly in the hospital. But there is medicine that you can take. I'm on hydroxyurea, so you can take medication, or you can just really, you really have to be cautious living with this. But there is absolutely a life. Going from 2 years old, they definitely told me that I wouldn't live to see 18. And so here I am, 40 years old. I've just graduated with my master's degree a couple of weeks ago.
Congratulations.
So I always, thank you so much. I always encourage the kids that, it may look rough right now, but you have life ahead of you. You have a lot of life ahead.
That's so beautiful of a message, and we appreciate you sharing what you've been through to help others who may be new or struggling, to understand what's going on, or how to bring light to a situation that they didn't choose from birth or whenever they're diagnosed. So tell us how the Red Cross is getting involved.
Absolutely. So Red Cross, I'm super excited about donating blood. I love that people are advocating for us and donating blood. My mom has always been huge on donating blood, and my family making sure that they do that. I don't match with anybody in my family, but I always tell people, if you do go to Red Cross and you're able to donate blood, you're literally saving multiple lives, not just one life. You may have saved my life. And also, they're making it important that African Americans, people who are diagnosed, and this disease affects majority, it's going to be in the African American community, and it's so important that we have blood that we need. Just like it's Juneteenth, and it's an amazing day. I love this day because it's World Sickle Cell Day and Juneteenth, and I'm hoping that this is going to be a push for people of color to get out there and donate blood, because there are kids, there are adults who do need your blood, who need your help. So Red Cross, and they're just really out there pushing it to get more donors and to get people to donate blood, just because it's important. And again, it helps us to prevent strokes, and it just gives us a better sense of life. I remember being so sick in 2019. I was in the ICU and I had to get a blood transfusion. I had blood coming in my arm, and that really just saved my life. So literally, when you get out there and donate, and you're assisting us and helping us in ways that you could never.
Have we ever found out why this disease is so prevalent in the African American community?
You know what? It's more prevalent African American, Hispanics as well. But you would be shocked that some of our white counterparts do have sickle cell as well. But it's just something that that we've had down the line. It's just something that is just prevalent in the African American community, not knowing exactly why, but it's just something that we deal with as a culture.
Okay, and so for this push from the Red Cross, how can people get involved? How can they help out? What do they need to do?
Absolutely. So they can go ahead on the Red Cross website to go and see where they can donate and go ahead in. And I do believe they're giving out $15 gift cards when you donate. And they're also putting you in a, I believe it's $7,000 raffle that you can get if you do donate. So I would say go onto your Red Cross website and see where you can actually donate. Go to the center, and we absolutely appreciate you. Just on behalf of everyone with sickle cell, dealing with this disease, living with this disease, we really appreciate anything that you can do. It is absolutely appreciated because, as I stated, you're not just saving one life, you're saving multiple lives, and we are extremely grateful for that.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and for being a part of this mission to help with so many others. Thank you so much. We appreciate what the Red Cross is doing and what you're doing as well.
Thank you so much. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy
and
Juneteenth.
Happy World Sickle Cell Day.
And
Thank
happy
you.
World Sickle Cell Day. Be blessed. I hope that everything will be well with you.
Thank you.
Everyone, it's 2:47. A couple of things that I want to tell you about. One, the USA is already 2-up on Australia. So if you've got the multiple screens, hopefully you are screaming USA, USA. We've had 2 opportunities to do that thus far there in Seattle as we are taking a live look there, and we certainly hope that we'll have many other opportunities over the next several minutes, hour or so, really, it's probably going to be able to scream USA, USA. And as we talk about, celebrating in the USA, let's also now go to the other side of the country. And at Joint Base Andrews, President Donald Trump is now unveiling a new presidential aircraft. We're going to listen into a bit of his speech.
They'll do things that won't make them happy, but I don't think it's going to get to that. I think it's going to be very good. Remember, if we do that, then all of a sudden you're not going to have the oil flowing out of the strait too quickly, because people that own billion-dollar ships don't love missiles flying over them, don't love mines all over the water. And this is going to be amazing what's happening now, because we have the greatest economy that we've ever had. We have $19.2 trillion coming into our country from other countries and people, but a lot of other countries are coming in, including Qatar, who was so nice in providing. We were at a little bit of a logjam. We're waiting for I call them the normal 747s, and I asked the Emir if we could use the brand new 747 that he got had when we first heard about it, 800 hours. 800 hours for an airplane is essentially, I think, Troy, you could say that's a brand new plane. And I said, we'd like to use it for a little while because the planes are pretty old. Our planes are old. See, a normal president wouldn't do this. A normal president wants to stay away from aircraft. We don't want to order any aircraft so that everybody thinks, but our country has to be represented properly. That includes we have the greatest military in the world. We have the greatest aircraft anywhere in the world, military fighters and bombers, and the B-2 bomber, you saw what that did. And we should have a plane. And we're going to have, as you know, we ordered 2 for a long time ago. They ordered, and they're coming in. And the hangar was built for the large plane. The other plane is such a difference in size. But there will never be one like this. This is very unique. This is considered the world's most luxurious plane. When it was built at a level that will probably never be seen again. And if the press would like, I don't know if it's going to help me with stories. I don't think they'll be any different. But what we're going to do is we're going to take you for just a quick tour. The press is actually going to, oh, look at them. They're actually smiling. Are you smiling? The first time I've seen them smile in years. They don't smile at Republicans. They should smile at Republicans because we're the ones that make America great. Anyway, but that's good. You happy about that? We'll do it. All right, so.
All right, listening in there to President Trump as he has just unveiled this new presidential aircraft. Much conversation has been had about it. It's a luxury jet donated by the government of Qatar. that has been painted red, white, and blue and adorned with the words United States of America here. So the Secretary of the Air Force says that from the beginning, we meticulously evaluated every requirement to accelerate delivery while maintaining the high standards expected of the presidential mission. This effort proves the U.S. Air Force can move fast without sacrificing quality, security, or reliability. So the Pentagon accepted this Qatari jet last year. They've been working over the last several months to prepare it for service, and now here we are. It's 2:51. We want you to give us 2 minutes, and then we're going to bring in meteorologist Mark Strell so we can get you set up for Father's Day weekend, Juneteenth, and all of the things that you'll want to do outside, and maybe some things that you might want to bring back in. Back. It's just about 2:55 right now as we take you back to San Antonio. If you have been watching us over the last hour, we've kind of been popping in and out here from this SWAT investigation that's going on there after an officer involved shooting that we know has taken place. And we do believe that there may be a suspect holed up in a home. Moments ago, we were seeing a big piece of equipment go towards that home. You can see there they have the dogs out, the canine unit that's out here here as they kind of mobilize outside of this home. No other activity in the neighborhood, everything kind of holding still, as you would hope when you have this type of mobilization happening in your neighborhood, that others are just kind of staying still and not moving about in the neighborhood to give them the opportunity and the range to be able to do whatever they need to do here at this home. Not a lot of details at the moment, still waiting on the police chief to give an update here, but what we do know is that at least one officer has been injured, it looks like, with non-life-threatening injuries, but we're not sure if that is necessarily from a gunshot wound or from something else that's happened there. But the first responders, we know, have said one person was taken to the hospital, and there are reports that one officer has been hospitalized. So if you listen to what I just said, it's kind of broken into two. We're not sure if the officer was put into the category of the one person sent to the hospital, but we do know that an officer has been hospitalized from a non-life-threatening wound. So we're waiting on the police chief here to give us an update. There have been drones in the air. Again, there was moments ago another type of apparatus that was making its way towards the home, and there are small remote vehicles that have been going towards the home, and we already saw there many of the SWAT team members that were outside of the home as well. As we get new information in, we'll be passing that along so that we can find out what exactly is happening and where they're moving with this investigation once the police chief gets on the scene and briefs the press as to what's going on there. It's 2:57, bringing you back here, though, to Chicago. We've got to find out what's happening with our weather outside. We've kind of been all over the place this week, and there's so much happening this weekend. It's Juneteenth, lots of activities for Juneteenth. It's Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day weekend in advance to you. How's the weather going to be by Father's Day?
Well, better now than it will be on Sunday. Let me answer that question directly. On Sunday, there's a good chance of some showers, and it will be quite a bit cooler with temperatures mostly in the lower 70s, so sharply off our normal daytime high temperatures. So I say start the grill right now.
Okay.
Start the celebration right now. I mean, doesn't that look like it's worth celebrating?
Looks fantastic to me.
Blue skies, blue water, nice skyline. Folks out there on the water enjoying themselves. It's a beautiful day in Chicago. We're going to continue to enjoy some sunshine today. Now, by tonight, there is a chance of a few sprinkles, showers moving in. And temperatures tomorrow will be in the 70s. In fact, I'm looking at 70s throughout the 7-day forecast. So we're not looking at the warm 80s or even those sticky 90s that we've had. Temperatures are going to be sharply cooler over the next several days, especially on Sunday with that shot of rainfall coming in. And we have more chances of rainfall in the 7-day forecast as well. So the best chance of rainfall comes in on Sunday. And look at that. We're talking about daytime highs only around 71 degrees there on Sunday. I've got 80 there on Saturday. We're pretty close to 80 right now across much of Chicago. I think it's entirely possible maybe to be 78, 79 degrees there again on Saturday as well. So we do have a cooler trend coming in. And I want to take a look at the rest of what's going on here. This is your future cast. There's your shot of rainfall coming in tonight. Tomorrow looks pretty decent. Some sunshine around, a nice day. So again, I say celebrate Father's Day a day early because here comes Sunday's rainfall. Looks wet, looks cloudy, looks cooler for much of the day on Sunday. There's that rainfall that kind of just envelops us. So yeah, today, very nice day. Tonight, a few showers around. A storm is possible. And here's a quick look at the 7-day forecast. Sunday looks like a wash for much of the day, and then we have more chances of rainfall later in the week. And look at that, 70s pretty much right across the board.
Well, I like the 70s, so I'm okay with that. When we see, or when you say showers, we've had a lot connected to rain over the last 2 weeks.
Yes, we have.
Are we not seeing anything like that for these?
Not looking at severe weather at this point coming in on Sunday for Father's Day, but we do have showers and thunderstorms, and by their very nature, thunderstorms can potentially become strong or severe, but at this point, it doesn't look like there's any indication that we're going to have anything really potent. It looks like garden variety showers and thunderstorms.
Okay. And with the rain that we have had, is that like eliminating drought?
Yeah, you know what? I'm not really too concerned about drought over the last couple of days because we've had so much rainfall, and we have more rainfall in the future. We've had a very wet time period, and depending on where you're located at, almost too much rain.
Yeah, and I only asked that because, it seemed like we had so much rain in April, for
Right.
instance, and then just a few weeks ago, I think, was it at the start of June when it was like, oh, wait, we're getting in drought territory. And it's like, how? Well,
Yeah, and at this point, I would have to say, I think we're pretty much not too worried about that. Just even driving in today, there's still standing water in a lot of ditches, and the water table being recharged, the soil moisture being recharged. I haven't seen any drought maps because I just haven't looked at any because I've been focused on other things. But I don't think there's really much of a concern right here around northern Illinois.
And I'm really hoping that, there are a lot of people who are still doing cleanup from the last couple of weeks of storms that have the opportunity today, tomorrow. Yes, there's a lot of celebrations, but if you are in need of the opportunity to do some work too.
Now's a great time.
Now is a great time.
It really is.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome.
up. We'll see you coming up on the 4 o'clock, and everyone give us 2 minutes, and I'll let you know where else we're going with our conversations in this last hour of Chicago Live for the day. All right, welcome back, everyone. It's just about 3:05. We're in our final hour here of the day for Chicago Live, and still some good conversations to get into. So let me tell you about where we're going with our conversations in this hour. Oh, we're going to talk about the Music Box Theater. I'm always a lover. In fact, we've in 3:45, right around 3:50, we're getting into some of our arts here in the area. So we have the Little Fort Film Fest and also the Music Box Theater. We have representatives who are going to be joining us through the latter portion of this hour, and I can't wait to hear about what they have for all of us to experience either this weekend or in the months to come. Also, a new kind of therapy around 3:30. We're going to be talking about exoskeleton therapy. If you're scratching your head on that one, I am too. I'm looking forward to getting the information on that. But we have a co-first author of the paper that was conducted on some research here into this for the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab in Northwestern University. These physical therapists that have looked and worked alongside stroke survivors during recovery, and now looked into this first of its kind rehabilitation system, this exoskeleton therapy. I can't wait to get the details on that and find out how many people that could help in the years to come. Love that it's coming right out of our area at that, something that could help people around the country, around the world, that is in its infancy right here. But we're starting off this hour with a conversation that many of us had when you are either in the buying or selling process for a new home, or you're getting rid of your home. However the case may be, sometimes it's the little things that make a big difference in either how much you get for your home, how much you're paying. All of those things kind of add up over time. We have one of our favorites here on the show, Matt Laracy, who's back with us. He's a managing broker who's always giving us great information. Matt, thank you so much for coming back.
Thanks for having me on here. I appreciate it.
We're today talking about paint color for homes, and it sounds kind of like, so what? Like, it's just paint. But what kind of difference can it make?
It makes a really big difference, actually. I always compare it to, if you ever watch House Hunters, where it walks into a room and says, "Oh my God, this place needs so much work." And you're like, "Well, what's wrong with it?" Like, "Well, it's painted yellow." You know, like, you just repaint the place. And they're like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with that." So you have to think about that. This is like a magazine, okay? And the way this looks and the way it photographs is going to give that first impression to somebody that makes them want that place more. And the less work that they're going to have to perceive that they're going to have to do, the better the property is going to show, and ultimately the more money you're going to get. So, it all starts with kind of the canvas. And if the place is painted appropriately to match the space it's in, it will get you more money for your property. The worst is when you have dated paint colors, or the paint looks really tired or has a lot of like marks on it, because then people just think it ultimately needs more work.
Wallpaper. It screams work to me.
Wallpaper's making a big comeback. I got to tell you, I think I've wallpapered most of my own place. Like, it is probably the new cool thing. And guess what else is coming back in half bats, like loud wallpaper. So like the old like English people fighting with swords is coming back, or people are taking their favorite magazine type stuff and wallpapering it with it. It's the place that people are having a little bit more fun with. And I got to tell you, right now, it's really working in a lot of places.
Interesting. Okay, so what colors work best? What colors are those maybe, if you really want resale value, you should stay away from?
Yellows, I think, yellows and reds kind of are always like the worst.
Really?
Yeah, they're just colors that, I mean, listen, I'm not saying that there aren't some spaces where maybe a pop of yellow can maybe really go a long way, but overall, anything really bright, yellow, reds, oranges, bright pinks, it sounds crazy. You'd be like, well, people don't have them. You would be surprised. And it is something that's very common. It's better to go more neutral. Browns are making a comeback right now. And so is like grays are always in. They're kind of fading a little bit more, but light blues are really big right now as well. So a neutral, soft color that's going to kind of give it a little bit more of a modern vibe is really the things that's kind of landing right now.
Very interesting. And does that make a difference in our outlook on space as well? The color that we see, I mean, does it maybe widen a space to our eyes or constrict a space to our eyes based on color?
Well, yeah. I mean, walk into a like just a square box that has bright red walls and tell me what you think about that space, right? Like, you're gonna feel like
red's one of my favorite colors, so I'd be like, oh, I got it. This is it.
You're one of a kind. But I can tell you is that the average person is going to be walking into a space, and if it's got more of like a nice soft white, soft gray, light blue, these are the colors that really kind of make it feel a little bit more homey. And yes, it's easier to perceive where your stuff's going to go. It also changes the vibe of a room. you know, there's a lot of times when people walk into a property and like, God, this just feels so nice. And like, you know, we sell like a lot of high rises, and you'll have two of the same floor plan on the market, and people will walk into one and it's kind of like, looks like it needs a paint job. Like the molding is all dinged up. There's like scuffs on the wall. There's no furniture in there. And they're like, wow, this place needs a lot of work. You look into the same exact unit for $50,000 more, and it's got nice furniture in there. It's painted right. It shows really well. And people are like, wow, this place is amazing. It's so much bigger. And you're like, well, why does the place feel bigger? They're like, I don't know. You got the big couch here. And like, it's just painted so nice. And they'll pay $50,000 more for it. And you're like, you can get the unit downstairs, just slap some paint on, because they're going to move the furniture out. It's the same place, but people will pay more.
And if you're selling your home and you're doing that kind of work, I mean, is that a small? I remember when I bought my last condo, like that was one of the first things I was like, oh, you guys got to paint. you guys need to paint. But for those who are new to either buying or selling, is that a cheap fix, or is that something that might be significant?
So I always tell people, like, listen, you don't want to spend too much money if you're selling, right? Because there's no guarantee you ever get back. A lot of people be like, you spend $3, you'll get, or you spend $1, you get $3 back, right? I'm a big believer is like, hey, you spend $1, best case we're gonna get 50 cents back, or worst case we get 50 cents back, and like hopefully we get more than that back. But we don't want to spend $50,000 because you don't know if you ever make $50,000. A lot of people try to do that. So what are some cheap fixes that we could do to make the property more presentable? And one of those is always going to be painting. Painting is one of the cheapest options that you could do that's going to really kind of reshape and reform what a space looks like. So painting that, painting doors, painting cabinets and kitchens right now has been really big as well. That really changes the concept, like the honey cabinets in kitchens, that has that yellowish color. Remember, we're talking, we don't like yellows. And people are painting them whites or light blues and things of that nature that are coming back, or they're doing off colors, and you'll be surprised of how much faster your property sells.
And then, are there areas that are worth making the investment in versus areas where it's like you definitely are not getting that money back?
Kitchens and baths are always going to be your main areas to spend money on. I think a lot of people get too much in the weeds on on smaller places. Like they'll be like, well, let's put a ton of money into the second bath. I'm like, well, your primary bath really needs the most work, so if you're going to put money, put it there. So, or people will get crazy on like doing too much in the backyard, and I'm like, well, you're spending $25,000 on refixing up your backyard when your kitchen looks like it's from the 80s, right? So focus on things first, right? Like first off, like have it painted, staged, maybe put some wallpaper in there, get the right furniture, have it be a nice vibe. If you got some more money, putting in the kitchen is always going to give you your best return. And then from there is going to be your primary bath. And of course you go further and further from there. But, you don't want to spend too much. I think some people get kind of crazy and then they kind of get overboard on the remodeling. Keep it simple, put it where it matters and where you're going to try to get your most bang for your buck back.
Sounds like a plan. Well, thank you so much for helping us. I mean, you shared some gems with us for sure, and we love all of your videos online. So thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Have a great rest of your day. Okay. All right.
Have a great weekend. 3:13 right now, everyone. And of course, for many people, while we have this great weather, folks are out and about celebrating Juneteenth, and community organizations are uniting, especially for an 1865 citywide Juneteenth celebration that's happening right now. Oh, little line dancing going on. We love a good line dance here in Chicago, and so plenty of activities that are happening there for kids and for adults as well. You see the bounce house, and again, a little music happening. We're going to take a look at this for just a few minutes, and I'll give you a little more context as we kind of look at what's going on here, how long it's going to be happening for everybody. But let's just take a few moments to take this in.
Turn it out. To the left. to the right. Reverse, reverse. Reverse, reverse. Cha-cha that, y'all. Cha-cha again. Cha-cha that, y'all. Cha-cha again.
All right, doing a little cha-cha slide there. Looks like the kids are having a good time. And again, this is Project 1865 here, a collaborative initiative designed to unite organizations, residents, churches, community leaders, law enforcement, and local stakeholders to observe Juneteenth, bringing everybody together for a great cause here, celebrating freedom, progress, resilience, and of course, community achievement here. This is happening at the Angel of God Resource Center campus. That's on South Halstead Street here in the city, and they continue to bring folks out here. It's from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., so you still got a little time left if you want to head out there and have a good time, just really enjoying a celebration of life, life that has gone before us. And these young people, life right now that can still be affected in such a positive way. And also they take things into the future. Of course, those young people that we're hoping will get a little history lesson today, a little fun, and a little time to just enjoy being in a positive environment. Let's take 2 minutes before we get into our next conversation here on this show.
6 hops this time. Right foot, let's go. Left foot, let's go. Right foot,
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We're coming up on 3:20 here very quickly, and we're getting into a discussion about the jobs mentality right now here in the city of Chicago. This mindset about the big stay that is apparently starting to fade, meaning people wanted to stay on their jobs after an extended period of a wait and see mode for many professionals. Now we have 46% of U.S. professionals, that's 45% just for Chicago, that plan to look for a new job in the second half of 2026. Interesting. We have Derek Walsh, Regional Director at Robert Half, who is here with us to put more context on the numbers that we're seeing. Thank you so much for your time.
It's good to be with you.
Okay, what is creating the shift? Why are people getting the itch to find a new job?
So, there's a lot of factors that are involved. They're probably the top 5 most notably mentioned and what we're hearing regularly are better benefits and perks, career advancement, remote work options, higher salary. Surprise, surprise. That's a little different than it has been historically, right? Being the fourth out of the five that we've surveyed. And burnout. Now, I do have to give a little bit of a shout out to the Chicagoans. We're up about a 50% number based on what the national average is showing there. So we got a lot of hardworking people in Chicago. It's been an interesting finding as we're looking at some of the national versus Chicago averages.
And how does this break down when it comes to the different generations, Gen X, millennials, Gen Z?
So Gen Z workers right now are absolutely leading the charge on this. You know, they're not quite as tied as some of the other generations that we're seeing. As far as industries are concerned, we're seeing technology, healthcare as the most likely to explore new opportunities, just given that those skills and industries have been a little bit in the higher demand. And ultimately, we're seeing it across others, but not just those two specifically. And it's quite the interesting finding, we will say.
Now, when we're looking at the numbers that you all have pulled, what's the AI in it all? Like, what difference is AI making in the things that we're seeing?
Yep, I knew we were going to get there quickly, so we're going to have to talk about it. You know, Robert Half looks at it in a couple different ways, but the main one being we believe AI is ultimately going to be a good thing for the labor market. You know, automated tasks to free up professionals for more strategic work can also create more jobs. It's similar to some of the other tech transformations we've seen over the course of time, whether that be ERP implementations and the such. AI is expected to augment human capabilities, but you know, as you lead through the creation of new skills, specializations, and roles, it's going to change what work looks like. You know, ultimately, automation can handle routine tasks, but human judgment and accountability is starting to matter now more than ever. And the research shows that AI literacy is increasingly expected in the workplace, not just as a baseline for the type of work that's being done, but for what sets candidates and employees apart as they're trying to separate themselves from the pack, so to speak.
And when you talk about how to separate yourself from the pack, what does that look like in 2026?
So there's a lot of different things that you can do, but you know, given that the technology is progressing quickly, you know, these are things that you're going to have to keep up current on. You know, whether it's certifications, whether it is just constant learning, ongoing learning, even if you're employed, you know, you have to make yourself attractive, whether it's to your current employer or future prospective employer, as you start to see some of these technology advancements. And it's, again, no different than we've had over the course of time. I think, you know, as we move through this, we're starting to see more and more opportunities for people that are kind of embracing this change to really have a leg up on the rest of the people that they may be competing with for different opportunities.
What areas have the greatest competition?
So accounting and finance, you know, which is a big specialty for us, you know, we're seeing that in technology, marketing and creative, legal, you know, over the number of kind of platforms that we'll make placements in. I think we continue to see stronger demand in all of those areas, particularly, you know, as you're looking at it from this time last year. It's been quite a marked change. So it's kind of an exciting time as people are starting to kind of come out of this wait and see mode, as you had mentioned, you know, and this whole kind of dubbed big stay, we'll say.
Now, there's getting in the market, and then there's market stability. Is this the time to have the itch? I mean, just because people are looking doesn't mean that employers are keeping people. So what does that look like?
So, you know, for high demand skills, I think job safety is probably as good as it's been in the time that I've been with the company, particularly given, you know, the work that's being performed. You know, as you start to kind of work through some of the different kind of automations that are going on right now, you know, we as a company are starting to see quite a bit of, you know, how do I want to say this? Effort on the employer's behalf to ensure that the employees that they are making a marked change from what they're doing every day are taken care of. And, you know, there may be less of a want to do that if folks aren't kind of creating and coming with the technology changes that are coming down the pipe, whether it's AI, as you had mentioned, some of their other systems, but additionally, just being a good corporate citizen, working well with your colleagues, and making sure that you are just continuing to be a productive member of the team.
And, I would like to kind of break it down into people who are, new to the work industry, what they need to be doing to, have the best possible options, and those who maybe you're looking for a career switch or looking for that next step in their career. What advice do you give to people at those different points?
So, I mentioned it earlier, but Gen Z is absolutely driving a majority of the job search activity. They're not tied down, and these early career professionals tend to be more mobile and focused on growth, building experience, finding roles that are better matched for their expectations, and just their overall flexibility and progression. The confidence is higher in the fields where that demand remains high. Professionals in areas like, again, healthcare and tech, who are more willing to explore opportunities because they know their skills are transferable and they continue to be needed across organizations. Maybe some of the other demographics that you'd look at, it really is person dependent. If there is that want to kind of continue to explore that flexibility and those other perks and benefits that we discussed, they're also able to take advantage of this kind of growing confidence we're seeing in the employment market. And so we'll continue to monitor it, but these are the things we're seeing right now. And it's been, we'll say, pleasant. Again, we're getting more calls, more emails, more clients calling in, more employers reaching out, looking for help for very specific skills across all of those demographics.
What mistakes are people making?
So this one's interesting. I think as you get through this AI kind of integration and the work that we're doing, we're starting to see more people, how do I want to say this? Maybe abusing the artificial intelligence a little bit, maybe expanding the skills that they've had in the past using that technology. And so we would encourage people to just be as genuine, as authentic as you possibly can as you're kind of working through the different opportunities that you're considering, right? I think everybody at the same time is wanting to start to understand holistically, what's the next best thing for me in my career, and which is the right thing to do. But you got to be honest and genuine about it, right? We do not want people kind of over exaggerating their skills to have, interview opportunities or receive a job offer. These are all things that we want to make sure people are being honest about as they go through their search.
Honesty is the best policy, right?
Always.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I think we've helped hopefully some folks out today if they're on the hunt for a new job or maybe even trying to stay where they are. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Good to be with you.
All right. Take care. Have a great weekend. 3:28 right now, and I do hope that he shed some light on some things to keep in mind, whatever stage in your career that you're at, and regardless of whether you're maybe hunkered down where you are, but that is kind of the big stay mentality versus those who are kind of looking over the fence and maybe contemplating doing something new. Let's get in a 2-minute break before we talk about this new exoskeleton therapy. Welcome back, everyone. 3:31 right now, and there aren't many families who have not been impacted by strokes. In fact, each year, nearly 800,000 Americans survive a stroke, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And so it is so interesting that the scientists at Northwestern University and the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab have developed a first-of-its-kind rehabilitation system that virtually connects therapists and patients through robotic exoskeletons. This is mind-boggling to me, but we're going to get the details now. Look at this. I mean, this is like next level here. Dr. Matthew Short, who is a co-author of the paper and conducted the research for the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab in Northwestern University, is joining me now. Thank you so much for your time. I have so many questions about this, but just tell us how it came to be, first and foremost.
Yeah, sure. So this was a really great collaboration between the researchers at Northwestern University and the physical therapists at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. There's a really tight network of clinical collaborations going on, and this was sort of birthed out of that. And the general idea is that, relearning to walk is a major objective for individuals after a stroke. This typically takes place by a physical therapist facilitating these walking exercises, usually on a treadmill. And the physical therapist plays a huge role in sort of providing some manual guidance to try to reteach these walking patterns that these stroke survivors have lost. The physical therapists at the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab are amazing, but this sort of approach does have some drawbacks. For one, it's a huge physical burden on therapists having to support the body weight of these individuals while also providing corrections, which can lead to some workplace injuries. And then also they're limited in sort of the number of contact points that they can have with these patients, right? They only have two hands. They can only address certain aspects of the patient's walking simultaneously at one time. And we know that walking is a really complex activity to relearn. So these two limitations sort of led us to explore how incorporating some technology can provide another tool for therapists to use during their therapy sessions.
Wow. And is that how they see it? I mean, do they see it like replacing them or being as a tool that can really add to what they're able to achieve with their clients?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, and that's something that we have stressed in the design of this system, and we've made it really an important point that we need to collaborate with physical therapists as we develop this technology. I think the typical exoskeletons that are on the market, they do a pretty good job, but they really relegate physical therapists to sort of like a supervisor role. And they take away a lot of like the nuance that physical therapists actually have when they're treating their patients. So we hope that this approach can really still involve physical therapists and keep them at the center of driving rehabilitation, but just giving them another tool that can help make their jobs easier.
And I'm wondering, does it then, because now you have more intervention here, does it speed up recovery for patients? Because we know sometimes that can take an extended period of time.
Yeah, definitely. So that's a bit beyond the scope of this study itself, but that is the hope, that we can sort of make our therapy sessions more effective by giving some more targeted assistance and corrections during gait. This study itself was just a single visit, sort of just like a feasibility study to make sure that the therapist actually could use the technology and that the patients also were accepting of the technology, and we confirmed those two things. So yeah, the next steps would be to really see if there's a therapeutic benefit from doing this sort of training over multiple sessions of therapy.
And so in order to take it and check off those next steps, what are you all planning to do moving forward?
Yeah, so we definitely need larger scale studies. And that would be like over the course of multiple sessions or multiple weeks of training. Typically, this is like the approach for a clinical trial. And we need large patient groups as well. Yeah, and as for future developments, I think before this is ready for like true use in the clinic, we need to make sure the technology is as seamless as possible to put on, take off, so that the therapists are really able to be able to use this really effectively as part of their treatment protocols.
Yeah, I mean, how many patients did you all work with in this, and what were some of the things that you all saw in them through using this type of therapy?
Yeah, so this study included 8 patients in the chronic phase of stroke recovery. And our main comparison was this exoskeleton approach that we propose compared to conventional manual therapy, which is what I was just describing earlier. The physical therapist is manually providing some assistance to move the patient's limbs. And our main outcomes were essentially the therapist's ability to shape the patient's walking pattern. So we looked at essentially how much their hip and knee were moving during walking on the treadmill. And we found that there was a lot greater range of motion with the exoskeleton approach, as well as things that are important for therapy like step length and step height. And importantly, we found that the patient's effort was maintained during this exoskeleton training. So one possibility is that you give the patient and therapist these exoskeletons and the patient completely relaxes and lets the therapist do the work. We didn't see that. So the patient remained, or all of our patients remained active during the therapy, which is a really great sign that they're able to voluntarily contribute to this kind of training.
And what were the challenges that you all faced that you were working through?
Yeah, so definitely there's some challenges related to like the safety features, especially that are built into these systems. So you want to make sure that you're not applying too much force to the patient and moving them through sort of awkward positions or positions that can be uncomfortable. So a lot of those features are built into the software that we've designed. And then also training therapists to use the system as well can be a bit of a challenge. A lot of people haven't ever walked with an exoskeleton before. So we had to make sure we had a proper protocol in place to get people up to speed. And the physical therapists that we worked for, or that worked with us for this study, were great, and they were able to adapt to the system pretty fast.
What goes through your mind
really encouraging
when you are a part of something and you have a goal, you're working through the challenges, and then you get to the point in which you all are at now? I mean, do you have a sense of achievement? Can you not even allow yourself to really feel that because there's still more work to do? Like, what goes through your mind?
No, I think this is definitely a cool first step. Yeah. Especially like getting to show off or showcase what we've done in this study after, I mean, this project in its inception, or since its inception, it's been about 6 years. So being able to show people, show the public these results is definitely really rewarding. But at the same time, it is, you have that thought in the back of your mind, like there's still more to do. So I think we're all extremely motivated about the future of this work and just really excited about this first step.
Yeah, and I mentioned, when I was introducing you about how many people are affected, how many families are affected by stroke each year. Doing this work, I mean, talk about the toll that the recovery process does take on people that makes you all want to look at ways to make at least the therapy more efficient.
Yeah, it's really, it can be a real bummer, to see how these people's lives are affected by a stroke, right? Like really, really simple daily tasks that we take for granted, like making a cup of coffee in the morning or walking up and down stairs, they become huge challenges, right? But I think something that's extremely encouraging and something that we've all experienced with these individuals coming in for our studies is just how motivated they are to participate in therapy, and their overall outlook on life is it's really inspiring. So that itself, like, that gets us motivated and excited about the work that we're doing. And the fact that the people that participated in this study seem to really enjoy the sessions that we had with them with the exoskeleton that's a great thing to see.
Well, it really is a great thing to see. Even this video of some of the 8 people that you worked with, even to get this far in your studies. And I look forward to hearing about the achievements that you all will have down the line as you work to help so many people who, endure a stroke and have a tough task ahead of them in getting back the life that they once knew, or some semblance of that. So thank you for what you do.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.
Everyone, it's 3:42 right now, and for sure, I mean, I've seen it. Strokes have rocked my family just like many of yours, and that uphill process, and the stroke can happen so quickly, and yet the process to getting back to some of the smallest things can take so long, but it is encouraging to see the work that's happening both there through Northwestern and the Shirley Ryan Ability Lab. For sure, they do wonderful work helping people on a regular basis. It's great to see the work that they're doing to even improve that and take that up a notch, although they're already doing wonderful things. 3:43, give us 2 minutes before we get into our arts segment of the program. We'll say we're going to start with a Little Fort Film Fest. Okay, welcome back, everyone. 3:45 right now. Let's talk a little about our arts community here in our area. For sure, there's something for everyone. And the Little Fort Environmental Film Festival is taking place this weekend in Waukegan. And we have Susan Musacchio, the festival director, who is joining us now. Great having you. I love the glasses.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Tell us about Little Fort.
So we are an environmental film festival on the shores of Lake Michigan up in Waukegan this weekend on Saturday and Sunday from 12 until about 4. And we have 30 films from 30 different filmmakers. We originally had 112 films from around the country, from around the world, and from 38 countries, 5 continents. And we selected 30 of them to show this weekend.
Which are some that you feel will really draw people out?
Well, one for sure is a locally produced film by students of the Cristo Rey St. Martin School. And they produced one about the local honeybees and the garden they have. And so I know we have a lot of local support for that. We have, there's just so many. We have one from New Zealand about her quest to save the seaweed around the New Zealand oceans. And we have another one that we have several Native American films, and we've invited the St. Catherine Center from Chicago to come up and host that segment.
Wow.
So something for everybody, and a lot of kids' films.
Awesome. And what do you feel is the mission of having like an environmental film festival?
Our mission is pretty clear. We want to activate dinner conversations about the environment.
I mean, it's straightforward, yeah. And having opportunities for those who are older and those who are younger, is it really to bring that forward to a new generation that they would maybe see the environment and protecting it different than generations of the past?
Well, you're exactly right. And that was really one of our goals in starting this film festival with the city of Waukegan was, how do you activate families to have that conversation around the dinner table, but to really get children engaged and thinking about the food they eat, the land that they live on, the water they swim in and drink, and how can they get involved just by doing something little.
What are little things that you think, even in 2026, people take for granted in terms of protecting the environment?
Well, I know with our group, we talk a lot about how we can all make a difference, and it can be overwhelming. So the little things are things like if you're walking in a park, pick up the trash you see on the ground, recycle maybe a water bottle that you're using. Maybe don't leave the water running while you're doing the dishes. It's just little things, but if 330 million people just did little things, it could make a big difference.
Tell me how long you all have had this festival?
This festival is brand new, so this is our first year, and we reached out to the city of Waukegan about 2 years ago and asked, would you be interested in talking about the environment? And they've been such a great partner, and so we've been working on it 2 years, and like I said, we have 30 films, and we have 15 filmmakers coming, and they're bringing 20 of their friends, and we expect a couple hundred people. In Waukegan, it's a pretty exciting time. We have the Juneteenth celebration. We have Nature Everywhere is going to be there, and then their monthly art walk is going on. So Waukegan's the place to be.
Waukegan is the happening place right now. Now, is there a cost for the film festival? What are the need to know things before I let you go that people should be aware of?
So our website is littlefortfilmfestival.org. You can find all the movies on there. It's $20 for a weekend pass, but all students all the way up to college are free. We want everybody to come, and really, if you want to come and show up, just come and find us. We'd love to have you.
Well, I think it's going to be great, and I look forward to seeing you all grow it over the years. But year one already sounds exciting.
Thank you so much.
Take care. It's around 3:50, everyone. Let me tell you before we go to break here, we had been monitoring the developments down in San Antonio while we had a live picture. There was a SWAT situation. They did just do a press conference, and the police chief says that an officer has been hospitalized after being shot there in this situation. There was a gunfight that erupted with officers when they were serving a warrant on the city's north side, and so there is a man who is holed up there, and they are trying with the SWAT team to get that man out of the house right now. He was wanted for possession of a prohibited weapon, and then this gunfight erupted. The suspect prompting 4 SWAT officers to return fire here. They said that he began shooting at them, so he shot back, or they shot back, and so the suspect was struck multiple times. Shot once in the leg, an officer, both transported by EMS. That's kind of what we were kind of reading between the lines of in the 2 o'clock hour, that it looked like possibly 2 people had been sent to the hospital, and that is true. So all the officers involved, it looks like, should be okay. But yes, an officer was shot during this gunfight that happened there in San Antonio today. So our thoughts and prayers are with that officer's family, and hope this is in the beginning of the investigation, that they're able to release some more information as time goes on. Let's take a 2-minute break, though, before we get into our final conversation with the Music Box Theater. Last conversation of the day. All right, welcome back, everyone. Final conversation of the day here today, and we're taking things to the iconic Music Box Theater because they are expanding. The owner, Brody Sheldon, is here with me now. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
How did this come about? What was the need, and how are you all making it happen?
Well, so the need is our audiences are growing, our membership's growing. We only have 2 screens, so we're kind of busting at the seams. And how are we making it happen? Through a long process that involved a lot of permitting from the city of Chicago, an amazing architect and design team, City of Chicago Community Development Grant, and the theater opens to members tonight and to the public next Friday. So it's happening.
It sounds awesome. And I mean, when you expand, when you mentioned the screens, but this means you'll be able to seat more people as well. About how many more?
So the new auditorium seats 98 people.
Okay.
We converted 2 commercial storefronts in our property and created this 3rd screen.
Mm-hmm. How difficult was that?
Very difficult. Well, it's almost 100-year-old birthday. We'll turn 100 in 2029. So building an auditorium in a small space in a historic building, it took a lot of finesse and technique, and the engineering behind it was too complicated for me to follow.
Well, you're here, so
I'm here. Yes, exactly. I'm here.
You know,
there are a lot of very smart people on the project.
Tell me about the timing of getting it done right now, as we get into summertime here in Chicago.
Well, the timing is, it was a quick construction project, and what's great about the timing is that people are eager to be out and about in the summer. And as part of the project, we made some improvements to our garden patio, which looks great. And people are just happy to be out and about with cool cultural things that have an element of fun. And that's what we bring.
It does mean so much. I mean, for people who love the arts, they may know about the Music Box Theater, but let's say someone doesn't know about the Music Box Theater and doesn't understand why I use the word iconic. What is its significance to the city of Chicago?
I think the significance is probably changed over time, but what's most significant is, well, the building was built in the late 1920s as a neighborhood movie palace. And we're the only neighborhood movie palace that's still in operation. Now, don't quote me on that, because if there are others, but I believe that's the case. And our main auditorium is 750 seats. So what's exciting about the Music Box experience is that you could see brand new release movies or old films on multiple formats in a historic, beautiful space.
So we bridge the history, and that's kind of been our theme of the day here, bridging the history with today and what takes us into the future as well. And you said people can start to come back and get in these new seats tonight?
Tonight. Well, members are this week, and we open to the public next Friday.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for coming on the show amid all of the things that you have going on to tell us more about it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Take care. All right, everyone. It's just about 3:58 right now. We've had some great conversations today here on the show. Of course, as we round out the week and get ready for the weekend, a weekend that we have earned. This week has felt very long for many reasons. Again, as we were speaking to our meteorologists, we're excited because we get out and about today. Tomorrow, do know Father's Day. Sorry, guys, but there's going to be more rain moving into the area, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be severe. So should be okay to still be able to celebrate Dad indoors, maybe. And of course, for today, the Juneteenth celebrations, the grand opening now to the public for the Obama Presidential Center. So many things. Whether you want to go to the Music Box even tonight for the members, enjoy. Be safe, and we certainly hope that we'll see you back here next week. We're always here weekdays between 1 and 4 p.m. Take care.